Hello, everyone. This goes to Dr. Makary, Commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration. Urgent federal conflict of interest violations, foreign data access risks, and regulatory capture via the American National Standards Institute, the American National Crediting Board, and its founding organization. They found this organization called the International Accreditation Forum, and also their sister, the IAF sister organization, ILAC, the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation in Australia. They are organizations that are basically associations of accreditation bodies, both national and international, equivalent in accreditation to ANSI-ANAB, and ANSI-ANAB are underwriters for them, which means they take all legal responsibility for failures systematic in product. And here we go. Urgent federal conflict of interest violations, foreign data access risk, and regulatory capture via ANSI-ANAB and IAF. Dear Honorable Dr. Marty Makary, I write to you with urgency and grave concern over a dangerous chain of negligence that has led to erosion of our regulatory capture, national security, and constitutional accountability. Central to this breakdown are the American National Standards Institute, ANSI, and the American National Crediting Board, ANAB, both private entities whose entanglements with federal agencies and foreign powers have created a catastrophic vulnerability in U.S. governance. Conflict of interest and compensation violations. Between 2015 and 21, Mr. Phil Mattson, Standard Operation Director for the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, served as a member and contributor on ANSI-ANAB, while simultaneously receiving $262,000 from them in outside compensation, and in addition to his federal salary. Similarly, Mr. Gordon Gillerman of the Department of Commerce, specifically the National Institute of Standards and Technology, received $120,000 from ANSI-ANAB while maintaining his federal salary. These are not allegations, Mr. Makary. They are documented facts. If either individual has been reassigned or shielded through bureaucratic maneuvering, let this serve as a formal notice that we retain documentation and records. The damage done between 2015 and 21 is already complete. We gave our data away. Foreign espionage by design, not by hacking. The most damning evidence is that ANSI and ANAB are founders and legal underwriters of the International Accreditation Forum, IAF. From 2015 to 2021, the IAF was chaired by Zhao Jinwu, who's been involved with our quality since 1994, a Chinese national and the chief executive at the time of the China National Accreditation Services, CNAS. In Beijing, Mr. Zhao was bound by China's National Intelligence Law, Article Number 7, which requires all citizens and organizations to support, assist, and cooperate with state intelligence work. This was not cyber espionage. It was a direct pipeline of information via the American accredited bodies to a foreign adversary. During Mr. Zhao's tenure, the Wuhan Institute of Virology, WIV, was certified by the CNAS. Internal scientists at the WIV had already raised concerns that the lab lacked enough trained technicians to safely operate a bio-level 4 laboratory. Yet, the certification moved forward under Mr. Zhao in January of 2017. After certification, a team of scientists from the United States visited the facility and again raised serious concerns about the lack of qualified staff to safely manage biohazardous material. To make matters worse, compounding this crisis, Ms. Pamela Sale, then the Vice President of Laboratory Accreditation for ANSI-ANAB, testified under oath in Texas. One of the issues is that there's no commonly agreed upon set of standards that forensic labs around the country have to follow. Instead, there are informal guidelines that labs can choose to follow or not. In essence, she admitted on the record that there was no enforceable system of standards. The COVID-19 pandemic was not an accident in procedural failure. It was the inevitable result of systematic deregulation and accreditation theater. U.S. Department of Defense. Even more troubling is the DoD, a member of ANSI-ANAB, and during the entire window of foreign control, the DoD remains involved to this day. As of this writing, Dr. Marty, as of this writing, every organization to whom this letter is addressed, the DOJ, the DHS, the Department of Commerce, DOD, FBI, and even the FDA, is still a member and or customer of ANSI-ANAB and thereby remains entangled in a structure that undermines national sovereignty. And I list all the regulatory violations that this causes. I'm not going to go into it. I don't want to make you or the person who's watching this bored or fall asleep. Narcolepsy. Now, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership, MEP fraud. The Department of Commerce MEP program has become a slush fund. More than 64.85% of its state and federal funds, in 50 states that is, go to executive bonuses and overhead, not to actual assistance for U.S. manufacturers. This is unacceptable and a clear abuse of public trust. The FDA now, in your neck of the woods, the FDA third-party recognition disaster. In 2018, the FDA gave ANSI-ANAB third-party recognition to oversee food safety. Since then, the U.S. has faced waves of recalls and unsafe product incidents, proving that this delegation of authority was not only ineffective but negligent. Final crescendo. Let me be blunt. It is nearly impossible for government agencies to investigate themselves, and the American public has paid the price. I have witnessed firsthand in April 17th of 2024 to the whistleblower, Sam Salephour in Washington, D.C., the DHS Subcommittee, the David Calhoun, former CEO of Boeing, but that was done when he was the CEO, June 18, 2024, or the most recent Kelly Oberg, who's presently the CEO of Boeing, session on April 2nd, 2025. The pattern is clear. Accountability is a performance, not a principle. Back in 2017, when the FBI Director Christopher Wray, who had been placed there by President Donald Trump on his first term, warned about Chinese infiltration, he failed. Now, he failed to mention that his own agency was sitting on ANSI-ANAB during the exact time China chaired the IAF. The Federal Bureau of Investigation was in a position of partnership with a Chinese communist-controlled forum, and I laughed bitterly as I watched him testify. This is no partisan issue. It is a national security emergency. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dr. Marty, I have been exposing this longer than the Department of Government Efficiency. If you truly want to break open this pinata of corruption, foreign compromise, and regulatory fraud, you need only look at the American National Standards Institute and the American National Accreditation Board, both of which remain packed with federal agencies and multinational corporations. That is where Elon Musk and anyone serious about restoring accountability should be putting their efforts. I look forward to you getting back to me. I have corroborating evidence to support all mentioned data in this letter. And yes, I do. Absolutely. When I stood up April 17th, on 2024, holding up two documents, I must confess, to the DHS subcommittee, it was like talking with Boeing, because the Department of Homeland Security sits as a member on the American National Standards Institute and the American National Accreditation Board, and they're also a customer. Just like Boeing is. Boeing utilizes them as their accreditation body, yet Boeing, from 2002 to just 2024, 22 years later, it took them to get AS9100, which are still working on, from what I gather, their commercial airlines division. They mandated it for their suppliers, but they themselves were working with internal documentation, which may not have been up to speed when it came to an international standard, such as AS9100. I thank you for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are listening to this, please put all your comments down below, and we will do our best to either personally get back to you this way through a video and or through typing a note out to you. I appreciate your time, and I thank you.